What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, where I, Chris Rickenbaugh, am documenting my journey in real estate and business while also talking about travel hacking and personal finance. So today, it is all about travel hacking, and the main part here is how I booked 8 days in Hawaii for only $66. So I did an episode a while back as soon as I booked this trip, and now I've had a few different updates and I'm about to head on that trip. So I just wanted to recap it because I'm going to be taking a week off after this podcast. So the next one is going to be my pretty much just going over the trip in Hawaii and what we all did, and just being able to kind of talk about the power of points and, start thinking about other trips down the road. So before I head into all of that, go give me a follow on TikTok and Instagram at Figuring It Out Finance, and find me on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, and then go check out figuringitoutfinance.com, where you can stay up to date on everything I'm doing with all of the links to all of those things. So let's hop into today's episode. So yes, I did book 8 days in Hawaii for only $66, and I want to break down exactly how I did that. So overall here, $66.80 total, and over $6,000 saved for 2 round trip flights and 8 nights in Maui, Hawaii, where we're staying at luxury hotels and booked the rental car with it as well, all on points. So just a quick overview of how I got into the points and miles game. I was looking to do a renovation on the house that I bought, and I was trying to figure out if hard money or, what was the best route to do that. So first I thought hard money, it didn't qualify. So what I thought, or what I wanted to do then was, what I did was go onto the Bigger Pockets website, and I said, hey, how do I do this? And somebody reached out to me in the DMs and said, hey, you should check out, or here's how you do all of this on credit. So I was a little bit nervous towards credit card points, and, he walked me through it step by step, and, it went perfectly. And at the end of his thing, he said, and then maybe you'll get a free vacation out of it. So I'm like, that's interesting, because I've been wanting to go to Hawaii forever. So going through that entire process, I earned all of the points through the renovations to be able to qualify for that trip to Hawaii, and to be able to get a little bit more educated. Since I was a little bit nervous using credit and credit cards, I started listening to a couple different podcasts that really broke it down. And they're like, look, here's the fears around credit cards. Here's how we do it. Here's why it's safe if you do this and follow our advice. So that was the Travel Hacking Moms podcast. And, I've listened to almost every single one of their episodes, and where they break down their trips, and then they break down exactly how they're using the points, and they even have their own coaching program, which I've thought about joining. I don't know just yet. Maybe when I start traveling a little bit more, or start looking at it, because I'm about to come into a lot of points through the renovations that I'm doing and the flips. So I'll definitely have to reach out to them to figure out how to maximize those points. But that podcast really just taught me what I needed to know to be able to do this and do it comfortably and open credit cards and not hurt my credit, because it is really a lot simpler than people make it out. There's just a lot of fears behind it. But if you get over that fear and listen to this and, just learn from the right people, you're going to be able to book amazing trips like this one. So getting started and how I got my points. So I strategically opened cards and used it on normal spending to be able to get that welcome bonus. A couple of those were 0% APR credit cards, to where there was a year to where you could hold that balance on there, make a small minimum payment of like $40 or, a couple percentage of how much usage you were using on the card. But what that allowed me to do was be able to do the entire rehab on my house, have the time to be able to pull the money out and then pay off those cards. So 3 of the cards I have are 0% APR. And, I'm just going back through my notes from that first episode. But, a couple of those different credit cards now, I've opened quite a few more. I have 2 Amex Platinums now where I just, or business plat, or 3. One's a personal, 2 are business. And so those are racking up a ton of points, especially using them for the rehabs to where, you get 1.5% on, or 1.5 points on every dollar if it's like through Lowe's and those different things. And then you get 150,000 points when you hit this welcome offer of 15,000 in 3 months, which I hit really easily. I think we spent it in 1 week this week on the rehab. So those are super, super easy to get doing the rehabs. And so now I'm just racking up these points. But what I basically did to be able to get this trip was use those credit cards, open them strategically, 3 with Amex and 3 with Chase, and then 3 were 0% APR. So breaking down the flights here, I had a total saved of $1,500. So I booked it through, or I went on pointsyeah.com. So I'd been looking for a while to try and figure out how to book the flights because I knew that was going to be the most expensive part. So I'd been looking around on different sites, not really finding anything on Google Flights. So one night, this, I forget it might have been just an ad, but it was pointsyeah.com popped up. And I said, might as well check it out. Let me Google the flights to Hawaii. And it popped up, oh yeah, you just transfer them into Qantas, and then you're able to book it through there. And it was a lot cheaper than looking through the Amex travel portal and wherever else I was looking, and I could do it all on points, and I had the points to do it, so I booked it right there. So breaking down the tickets, it was 68,500 points per ticket. So 2 tickets was a total of 137,000 points. And the comparable flight prices, it's about $750 a ticket to be able to get to Hawaii from Charlotte. So I saved $1,500, and that's where those that $66 comes from, because you use the points to book the flights, and then they have a couple extra fees in there. So that's where that $66 comes from when you book flights. So just remember that, because Southwest, I know, does it. Pretty much any flight is going to have those little fees extra, or those little extra fees, but it's super simple. It's going to be a lot cheaper than booking it with cash and having to save and save and save, where the points were free because I used the cards to be able to rack up the points just on my normal everyday spending. I wasn't going and buying these luxury items. I wasn't spending more than I normally do. It was super, super simple. I was using it just like a debit card. So those were the flights. So 137,000 points and a total saved of 1,500. So before I get any farther, the amount of points compared to the dollar amount is a little bit confusing for some people, because 137,000 sounds like a big number. But so when you sign up for the Chase Sapphire, you have to hit the minimum spend of $4,000 in 3 months, and then you get 60,000 points on top of that. So that 60,000 points really equals out to almost $800 worth of travel. So 60,000 points is going to go a lot farther than cash. And then you could keep racking up the points because there's more cards and there's different ways to transfer. Once you get the different hotel cards or flight cards, you got to figure out where the best way to transfer your points to be able to get the max amount. So with those 60,000 points, you can book an entire vacation. You just got to be smart about where you're spending it. So that one flight to Hawaii, with my normal spending, to be able to hit that bonus for the 60,000 points, I would have been able to book one flight to Hawaii for the 68,500 points on Qantas. So just keep that in mind as we keep going here. But moving on to the hotels. So this had a total saved of almost $42 $4,200. So $4,200 and 5 nights at the Hyatt Regency Maui Resort, to where it's $461 a night when we're staying. So that turns out to $2,305. So each night was 30,000 points times the 4 nights is 120,000 points, plus the 25,000 points for that extra night bonus, or since I'm booking 5 nights, which came out to a total of 145,000 points. And I have the Hyatt card, so that's why I was able to get 5,000 points off that last night. I know there's different Hyatt cards where you can get the 5th night or the 3rd night completely free. I'm definitely looking into that when I open my next business card. So that's the first hotel. So I spent 145,000 points and I saved $2,305. So that was $461 a night at a real luxury resort. So the last 3 nights we're staying are going to be at the AC Hotel by Marriott in Maui, Wailea. So this one's a little bit pricier, and the average night there is $631 per night, which comes out to $1,893. So that is how much I'm saving. So believe it or not, when you sign up for the One Marriott Boundless card, I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but the Marriott card, you get 3 free night awards up to 50,000 points. So I was looking at staying at one of the pricier hotels, and I didn't have enough points for it. And I said, let me look at some other Marriott hotels. And I found this one. I'm like, well, I can stay at this one free, not using any points. So I used my 3 free night awards for this hotel. So I'm spending $0 and 0 points for 3 nights at the AC Marriott in Maui, Wailea. So huge discount there. So even if you're just traveling, you got to be able to put in perspective, say you're going on a weekend trip and you're able to use these 3 free night awards, you're able to stay for free when those hotels could be a couple $100. For people trying to save up and get started, that's a ton of money. So being able to save almost $2,000 in an expensive part of Hawaii and not have to spend $0 and 0 points, that's huge. And that's just being able to do the studying and understand that opening these cards and using it like a debit card, that's just the power of points. And that's something I can't stress enough. So the added part, I just went over the hotels and the flights to where that's pretty straight up. And that's exactly what I talked about in my first podcast on this. But another part was adding the rental car. So I looked and, I was looking at spending, it was probably about $1,000. It was looking like $1,000 to be able to spend on a rental car. And I'm like, I was looking at the cheapest ones and I was trying to figure it out. And then I saw on the Amex Travel Portal that you can book your rental car with points. So booking the rental car, I booked a quality one. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I used 66,000 points and I saved $467.18. So that all those numbers kind of moved around my total saved and total spent on points. So remember to, even if you're traveling a lot and you have your hotel and room covered, maybe you can buy or use your points for your rental car to be able to save even a little bit more money like I did. So that is the gist of the entire trip, and I'm going to break down the entire recap right here. So I got my points by spending my normal amount every single month and opening cards strategically to be able to get the welcome bonus, which accelerated the points to be able to book the hotel, the flights, and the rental car. So total points used for the entire trip for 8 nights in Maui, Hawaii is 348,000 points. And the total amount saved is $6,165.18. Over $6,000 $6,000 saved and not coming out of my pocket to be able to stay in a really, really cool part of Hawaii, luxury hotels, have a great rental car, and have an easy flight over. And the total spent out of pocket for me was $66.80 on all three of these things. So over $6,000 saved and only $66 out of pocket. Hard to beat that. So just remember that the next time you're looking to book your trip. I'd love to be able to help people do this as well. So if you're interested in this story, please hit me in the DMs, shoot me an email, and I'd love to be able to help you out. But as for this podcast, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hopping on a flight tomorrow morning when this podcast is dropping. So go leave it a like. Go leave a comment on YouTube. Go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, to where I'm going to be documenting the entire trip day by day pretty much, and going to be posting all of those. I'm going to take a week break from the podcast to be able to just enjoy the trip. So next time you hear my voice is going to be after a week in Hawaii. So thank you so much for listening to the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and I am signing off. We'll see you in 1 week.